Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something that might not sound super exciting at first glance, but honestly, it's the absolute backbone of any successful software project.
Definitely.
We're talking about the Quality Management Plan, or QMP. If you've ever been on a project that just felt like constant firefighting.
Oh, yeah,
Well, the QMP is basically designed to stop that before it starts.
that's exactly right. And for this deep dive, we're working from excerpts of a software project quality management plan template. Think of it like a playbook, really.
The playbook, yeah.
It's there to, guide us through making sure the software we build is actually good, not just working, but reliable, fit for purpose, meeting what everyone actually needs.
Right. So our mission today is pretty clear. Let's unpack the key bits of this QMP template and figure out how each part helps keep things on track and leads to a quality product.
Because the alternative is
Well,
nobody wants that software disaster story. Okay, let's get into it.
Wow.
Fundamentally, why do we even need a QMP? What's its core purpose? At its absolute heart, the main goal is just to guarantee that everything the project delivers, the software, sure, but also the docs, maybe training stuff hits a quality level that makes it genuinely useful, fit for its purpose.
fit for purpose.
It's not just like ticking boxes. It's about building something solid that works like it should and keeps working.
Makes sense. Building with intention, avoiding that house of cards
Yeah.
situation. Now, this template, it breaks things down. What are the main pillars we're looking at in a QMP?
So the template really points to three core components. First, you've got quality assurance. That's all about the processes, how we build it, right?
Okay, the how.
Then there's quality control. That's looking at the actual deliverables, what we've built, making sure they meet the standards.
Checking the output.
Exactly. And finally, quality improvement, which is basically the ongoing effort to learn and tweak things, get better next time.
Right.
And what's interesting is these aren't like separate stages. They're woven through the whole project, right? From planning to launch.
So definitely not an afterthought. It's baked in from the start. The template also mentions quality philosophy and quality strategy. They sound a bit academic. What's the difference there?
Yeah, they can sound a bit abstract, but think of the quality philosophy as the project's core belief about quality, like its overall intention and direction.
The mindset.
Kind of, yeah. The template says this covers things like using established standards, having clear governance, making decisions properly, and crucially, getting input from subject matter experts. It's that fundamental conviction that quality matters.
Gotcha. So the why we care about quality. And the quality strategy is the how we make it happen.
Precisely. The strategy is the practical plan. It's where you identify potential quality issues, could be in the process, could be in the product itself. You specify the standards you'll actually use, and you pinpoint the really critical quality activities in your work plan.
Like testing, schedules, or reviews.
Exactly. Like if your philosophy emphasizes security, the strategy details the specific security tests you'll run, when, and how.
Standards keep popping up. The template mentions them for risk, records, security, even web publishing. Why is nailing down these standards so vital?
Well, think about avoiding those project disasters we mentioned. Standards give everyone a common language, a shared definition of what good actually looks like for this project.
Okay.
So by agreeing on and sticking to relevant standards, could be about coding practices, data privacy, accessibility, whatever you build this framework. It cuts down confusion, ensures consistency.
And hopefully leads to a better product.
Right. A more reliable, trustworthy product. And the template smartly adds that if standards change mid-project, you need to treat that formally, like an issue to be managed.
Right, because otherwise chaos. Imagine half the team using an old security standard.
Exactly. So philosophy and strategy set the stage. Then we get to project quality assurance. How's that different from just having the strategy?
Isn't it part of the strategy?
It flows from it, but QA is more about proactively building quality into how you actually work day to day. The template says it's achieved by defining the right quality-focused project management processes.
So embedding it in the workflow.
Yes. Setting up your planning, your coding, your testing activities so they inherently support quality. It's the proactive step, like saying, we will do code reviews on everything because we know it leads to better code. That's a QA activity.
Okay, making quality just part of how things get done. Now, how do we actually check if those processes are working? And if we're hitting our quality targets, that sounds like quality review and evaluation.
You got it. This is where you step back and formally assess progress. The template talks about maybe bringing in project quality consultants for formal reviews, like project performance reviews.
Okay.
But even without consultants, it's about setting regular checkpoints, maybe end of phase, maybe more often. And you examine specific things.
Like what sort of things?
Things like, well, how's the project tracking against its goals? Are the methods we're using actually effective? What have we learned? Where can we improve?
The improvement part again.
Yeah, and what's really key here is that focus on learning and adapting. It's not just a blame game if something went wrong. It's about how do we do better.
Right.
Think about a post-launch review finding a bottleneck in deployment. That's gold for the next project.
Continuous improvement, literally built in. Okay, speaking of changes in another section, management of changes to project scope.
Yes.
Scope creep is famous for derailing projects. How does managing it link to quality?
Oh, it's hugely linked. Think of scope creep like weeds. Unchecked, they'll just choke the quality right out of your final product.
Yeah, definitely seen that.
So the template emphasizes planning for change risk analysis helps there, tracking change requests properly as formal issues, using an iterative approach maybe to manage change within cycles, and critically, updating the main project business plan if the scope does significantly change.
So it's about control.
Exactly. A controlled, thoughtful process for handling change requests so quality doesn't get accidentally thrown out the window just to add one more feature. You know, a project just adding features haphazardly that's usually heading towards a buggy mess.
Makes total sense. Change itself isn't bad, but uncontrolled change is the killer. Okay, let's shift to risk assessment and management. We usually think risk means budget or deadline overruns. How does it specifically connect to quality here?
That's a really important connection the template makes. It explicitly says risk management needs to cover risks to resources, time, cost, and quality, plus achieving the overall business goals.
So quality is right there with the big ones.
Absolutely. The key takeaway is you need to proactively look for threats to quality. Maybe it's not having the right skills on the team, or a crazy deadline forcing shortcuts, or maybe not enough budget for proper testing.
All potential quality killers.
Right. And once you identify those potential risks, you need a documented plan. How will we assess them? How will we manage them if they start to happen?
So anticipating threats to quality and having a plan B.
Got it. Now, information management. The template splits this into document management and record keeping. Seems a bit administrative, maybe? Why is this vital for quality?
It might seem administrative, but clear, reliable information is like the foundation for a quality project. Document management, the template says, means having clear processes for reviewing and approving key documents, like the main project business plan.
So everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. Shared understanding of goals, plans. Then record keeping is about following the rules. Could be government policies, internal rules for maintaining project records.
The audit trail.
Essentially, yes. It's not just for compliance, though. It creates this history of decisions, actions, invaluable later for understanding why things were done a certain way or for learning lessons. The template mentions protocols, registering official documents. It's about reliability. Okay, so transparency and a reliable history support quality through accountability and learning. Right, now let's focus on the actual stuff the project produces, the software, the docs. Output quality control. How does the QMP handle that?
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road, you know.
Yeah.
Output quality control is all about defining very specific criteria and characteristics that the deliverables must meet.
Defining good enough.
Or rather, defining fit for purpose. And the template stresses this isn't just the tech team deciding. You have to involve the stakeholders.
Okay, who are these stakeholders?
Could be several groups, according to the template. The business owners, obviously they're funding it. Maybe advisory groups for technical input, reference groups to get wider consensus, working groups focused on specific outputs, even external consultants for niche advice.
The broad group.
Yes, and the crucial thing is fitness for purpose is defined by their collective needs, expectations, requirements, critical success factors. It's a holistic view of quality, not just technical specs.
So quality means meeting the needs of everyone invested in it. Okay, we have the criteria. How do we check if the outputs actually meet them? That must be output review procedures.
Exactly that. This part lays out the when, how, and who for testing and reviewing outputs. And a key point the template makes. Testing isn't just for code,
Right, documentation needs checking too.
or training materials, or user guides. Anything that's a deliverable might need some form of testing or review to ensure it meets requirements. It also stresses needing formal procedures for handling problems found during review, defect tracking, and fixing.
A bug tracking system, essentially.
Similar, yeah. A defined process for reporting and rectifying issues found in any output.
And what about progressive audits or appraisals? What are those?
Think of them as ongoing health checks for quality throughout the project lifecycle, instead of one big quality check at the end.
Which is often too late.
Right. You do smaller progressive checks along the way, catch issues earlier when they're cheaper and easier to fix. Like regular checkups. The template adds these should cover technical stuff, compliance, and track any advice given.
Building quality in step by step and checking as you go. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what if we do need to change the specs for an output after they've been agreed? Change control for outputs.
Yep, another control point. Any change proposed to the agreed output specifications needs a formal process. The template outlines it. A structured way to request and evaluate the change, a proper impact assessment, what will this change affect, quality, schedule, cost, and then a clear authorization method before it gets implemented.
So no random tweaks.
No random tweaks that might mess things up unintentionally. Controlled change again.
Okay. And finally, we've built it, reviewed it, fixed it. We need to accept it. Output acceptance procedures.
Correct. And acceptance isn't just a quick thumbs up. The template points out it includes formally accepting the ongoing responsibilities for managing those outputs.
Handing it over.
Exactly. The business owners follow agreed criteria for their final review. And this formal agreement is usually captured in something like a handover plan. It spells out who owns what going forward.
A clean transition.
Okay.
And last but not least, appendices. That's typically in there.
That's usually where you stick the practical tools. The template mentions things like a change request log or a rectification log, standard forms, templates to keep documentation consistent, any other operational docs the team needs.
The supporting materials to make the plan work day to day. Got it. Wow, okay, looking back at all that, it's really clear a good QMP isn't just bureaucracy. It's a vital framework.
Absolutely. It's that systematic, proactive way to bake quality into the entire project lifecycle, from idea to delivery and even beyond. It genuinely boosts the chances of ending up with something successful and valuable.
So for you listening, we hope this deep dive really clarified those key parts of a software project quality management plan, and hopefully showed how this kind of structured approach is the antidote to project chaos and the key to delivering software that actually works well.
Yeah, hopefully.
And here's a final thought. These principles, clear planning, regular quality checks, constant improvement, they aren't just for multi-million-dollar software projects, are they? Think about how you could apply these ideas to complex tasks in your own work or even personal projects to get better, more reliable outcomes.
Good point. It's broadly applicable.
Thanks for exploring the depths with us today.